LE 135, right?
Yes, sir. I'll go let them know. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us tonight for this event that will recognize the efforts of our students. I would ask that you would please stand for the entrance of Basic Law Enforcement Recruit Class 135 and crossover from Corrections to Law Enforcement Class 33. Please remain standing as the Seminole County Sheriff's Office Color Guard presents the colors. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence for all law enforcement officers and first responders who have given their lives in the line of duty. Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you to the Seminole County Sheriff's Office Color Guard for presenting our nation's colors, and to Sergeant Christy Register, who you heard on the bagpipes. Good evening and welcome, distinguished members of the Seminole State College faculty, advisory committee members, students, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jim Lee, Director of the Center for Public Safety here at Seminole State College. And I want to say, students, today is your day. Enjoy it because you have earned it and you worked very, very hard to get to this point. Our ceremony today is in recognition of your hard work and dedication, and we are humbly proud to have been a part of your education. Your efforts have been outstanding, and they're worthy of recognition. And again, congratulations. At this time, I'd like to introduce the members of the platform party and other notable guests. Please hold your applause until all members have been introduced. Dennis Lima, Sheriff of Seminole County. Under Sheriff Lou Tomio, Seminole County Sheriff's Office. Chief Dan Purcell, Seminole County Sheriff's Office. And Chief Mark Conway, Seminole County Sheriff's Office. Chief Dale Coleman, Chief of the City of Oviedo. Captain Dennis Strange, representing the City of Lake Mary. Chief Dave Dowda, from the City of Longwood. Deputy Chief Clint Jelly, from the City of Longwood. Captain Matt Track, from Winter Springs. Captain Kevin Presley, from Winter Springs. Captain Dave Del Rosso, from the City of Castleberry. Sergeant Jennifer Chapman, from the City of Castleberry. Sergeant Nigel Price, representing the City of Sanford. Chief Tom Fuhrer of the Orlando Sanford Airport Police. Deputy Chief James Riggs, City of Altamont Springs. From the City of Orlando, we're honored to have Chief Orlando Rolone, Deputy Chief Jose Velez, Deputy Chief Eric Smith, and Captain Doug Gerke. We also have Deputy Chief Anthony Watts, representing the Orange County Corrections. We also have retired Sheriff's Captain Al Sanchez. Al, if you'd please be recognized. If anybody's been through the academy in the past 50 to 75 years, he's probably been one of their instructors. And we also have Deputy Anthony Watts, representing the Orange County Department of Corrections. Please, and Mr. Tim German, thank you for being with us. And please join me in appreciating the fact that these people have come to be with us this evening. We know that student success is directly related to having the best and the brightest college faculty, for they're really at the heart of our programs. So naturally, we want to recognize our faculty and our support personnel. I would ask them to please remain standing and please hold your applause until all have been introduced. Jim Charles, the Criminal Justice Basic Law Enforcement Program Manager. Jim is retired from the Ocala Police Department and also served as a deputy sheriff in Marion County after serving 7 years in the United States Army Airborne. Terrell Hendricks could not be with us tonight. He's a retired lieutenant from the city of Altamont Springs, and he oversees the advanced and specialized programs. Sandra Dillard, again, has another engagement, but she is the program manager in charge of the Associate of Arts program. If any of you have not finished your education, she can show you the easiest way to get that taken care of with a Criminal Justice Associate in Science degree. Terry Rollins and Patty Hainig. Patty was out of town, but Terry is the person who does all of the purchasing, the scheduling of the classes, the routing of mail from one section to another, anything that has to do with the operation of the classes and the supplies that they're needed, from bullets to targets. Terry has a hand in that. And in addition to our full-time faculty, we also depend upon a large complement of adjunct or part-time faculty, the majority of whom are actively involved practicing their discipline day in and day out. So I'd also ask that all adjunct faculty please stand to be recognized. Please join me. Thank you. You can be seated. I would also like to ask all active and former first responders from criminal justice, the fire service, and EMS, as well as members of our armed forces and veterans, to please stand and be recognized. We're very fortunate to have Lee Massey as our speaker tonight. Lee began his law enforcement career in 1984 with the Winter Garden Police Department, and 2 years later, he was hired by the Orange County Sheriff's Office, where he worked in several areas, including patrol, narcotics, specialized patrol, and intelligence. Before retiring from the Sheriff's Office as a captain in 2012, he served as interim chief of police for the city of Windermere and was also instrumental in the development of the Central Florida Intelligence Exchange, the Fusion Center, and served as its director for 2 years. Upon retiring from the Sheriff's Office, Lee was appointed Chief of Police for the Kissimmee Police Department, where he worked until 2016, when he was hired as the Managing Director for Valencia College's School of Public Safety Criminal Justice Institute. I had the honor of working with him on the Training Center Directors Association during that 2-year period, and he brought a great deal to the organization. In April of 2019, just this month, Lee was appointed Special Agent in Charge, the SAC, of the Florida Department of Law Enforcement's Orlando Regional Operations Center. SAC Massey will oversee all investigative and administrative operations for the 9-county FDLE Orlando region. Lee has lived in the Central Florida area for more than 40 years, and he has been married for 21 years, and he's the proud father of 2 daughters. He enjoys hunting, playing golf, and traveling the country watching his daughter play soccer. Please welcome Special Agent in Charge, Lee Massey.
Thank you, Director Lee. As Director Lee stated, my name is Lee Massey, and I'm extremely honored to serve as the keynote speaker for tonight's event. Before I recognize the guests of honor, I would first like to recognize Director Lee and any of his staff and tell them thank you for all they do. Having recently served as a director of an academy, a law enforcement and corrections academy, in a neighboring community, I feel like I sort of snuck out the back door and trying to get away with something here. So I fully understand the importance of the role these individuals play in preparing the men and women to my right for their future in a law enforcement career. The responsibility of doing everything possible to know that the recruit has received the highest level of training to survive and thrive in this profession is one that I know these folks don't take lightly. And for that, I'd like to say thank you. To the family and friends of these graduates, I want to applaud you for what you've had to endure for the last 5 months. I doubt any of you expected you would be asked to serve as the resident practice dummy for hours of practice, perfecting restraint maneuvers and/or the various takedown techniques that they were taught in the academy. If there was ever a blessing to be part of a very large family, I can only imagine that it came during the handcuffing portion of the class. I'm completely convinced that each of you have a full understanding of a custodial interview. It was never better understood than when you attempted to quietly slip out of the room during this practice time. To all of you that fall in this category, I can promise you that your support and your encouragement during this academy was, but even more importantly will continue to be, a critical piece to the success of these men and women as they take the next step in their journey. I know, as a long-time law enforcement practitioner, without the support of the family, the local support of the home, this job is almost unbearable. So for each of you, I want to applaud your efforts and pray that you continue to give them the support they're going to need. Now I'd like to speak to the honored guests. Basic Law Enforcement Class 135, Crossover Class 33. First, let me congratulate each one of you for a job well done. I'm both honored and extremely humbled to have the opportunity to share my thoughts with you as you prepare to serve in both this challenging but amazingly rewarding profession. Your accomplishment is one you should be extremely proud of. You have successfully completed a very long and difficult journey at one of the best law enforcement academies in the state. That was hard to say, Director. It came from the heart, but it was hard to say. You've been pushed to the limit, both mentally and physically, and the demands that have been put on you, they were intentional. This profession will test you every day, and each challenge you were presented with in this academy was meant to serve a purpose. Don't ever forget it. Even though you questioned it, don't ever forget it. Every instructor was charged with the same mission: to do everything possible to best prepare you for the demands you will encounter, whether they be physical, mental, or emotional. The Academy program is not easy, but the path you have chosen places demands on you that very few professions do. Serving your community and your country as a law enforcement officer is not an easy task. You have heard words like integrity, character, and professionalism. These are all characteristics, personal traits that are required. They're required to be a law enforcement officer. There's no compromise. But you also need to have compassion. You need to have patience. And as hard as it's going to be, you need to have understanding. Remember, you don't know the backstory. When you get called to a call for service, you don't know what went on before you got there. Everybody has a backstory, and that compassion and that understanding sometimes is going to be difficult, but you have to have it to be a true professional. These are sometimes very difficult attributes to have. But again, there's no option. They're paramount to doing the job the right way. You will interact with individuals from all segments of society, from the very wealthy and privileged to those that are much less fortunate, much less fortunate than most of us. And you will be expected to apply the law fairly and equally in every encounter, regardless of a person's background, or socioeconomic status. That's an important message to remember. In this job, you possess incredible authority. Think about this. In some instances, the authority granted to you is greater than that of the President of the United States. You have the ability to take away the greatest right we have in this country, the right to be free. That's a major, major responsibility. You should never abuse that responsibility. You should always think about the ramifications. You also have the ability to take a human life, sometimes having to make that decision in a split second. Rely on your training, gather your experience, but continue that training to be better at that decision-making as you advance in this career. A split second, that's the time you'll have to make that decision, fully knowing that once that decision is made, there'll be many people with far less training, far less experience. They're going to sit and critique you. They're going to make a decision as to whether what you did was right or what you did was wrong. You've got to live with not only making the decision to take that life, but then learn how to deal with the opinions of people that have never walked in your shoes. I mentioned the support of your family and your loved ones. That's where it's critical. You've got to be able to separate, and you've got to have that support because that's a tough pill to swallow. A decision that you'll make will have an impact on you that will change you for the rest of your life. How you deal with that is going to be critical to how successful you stay in this career. Your training has prepared you for these types of situations, and you'll need to continue that training throughout. You'll find support amongst your fellow officers, and you'll always need the support of the ones closest to you. Try and have a network outside the business. If you talk cop 24/7, it'll end up driving you crazy. These times are difficult, but remember, no one told you this career was going to be easy. But there's another side to this job. It's a side that I find extremely important, and sometimes we don't do it well enough. The side that allows you to humanize the position of a law enforcement officer. What do I mean by that? When I was the chief in Kissimmee, I used to ask my officers randomly how they would introduce themselves to a citizen if they had an opportunity to encounter one. It was a trick question. We learned those throughout our careers because I knew what they were going to say. I'm Officer Smith. I'm Sergeant Jones. I'd think about that for a minute and I'd ask them, is that really who you are? Are you Officer Smith? Are you Sergeant Jones? They would look at me with a confused look, which I also knew was going to come. One, I was the chief and they didn't know what the right answer was, and that's always fun to play with. But I tell them, this is what you need to understand. You're not Officer Smith. You're not Sergeant Jones. I'm not Chief Massey. I'm Lee Massey. And you need to understand that you're an individual. Remember, what you are is Officer Smith. What you are is Sergeant Jones. What I was Chief Massey. But introduce yourself as the person you are. There'll be times when you have to formally announce your rank, formally announce your title. But if you have a chance to encounter a community member, let them know who you are as a person. That'll go a long way. Don't let this job define you. Remember the characteristics: integrity, character, professionalism. That's who you are. That's who you are. Don't ever let that get away from you. In closing, I'll tell you this. No one is going to predict or can predict what you're going to face in the days ahead. But know this. You may and you probably will have an opportunity to save a life. You may save several. You'll deal with the worst of society. You won't get the calls for cookie and milk. And unfortunately, you're going to bear witness to man's inhumanity to fellow man. But still, you'll remain true to the profession. You are a law enforcement officer. You become that officer sworn to serve and protect. Remember, that's why you're here. That's your calling. Congratulations on your accomplishment. Good luck in your careers, and God bless.
I just want to say, Lee, thank you very much. I know that years from now they will remember the words that you've given them tonight, and it truly comes from the heart. We would like to give you a gym bag with the emblem from this academy, so you'll just so that you could remember tonight and let you know how much we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank
sir.
you, sir. Appreciate it.
We would now like to ask the graduates of Basic Law Enforcement Class 135 to please come forward for the presentation of their certificates.
Class 135, active, good! Left, raise! Forward, halt!
Vanessa Benales. Jamarcus Brown. Quintavious Leonard Caffey. Stephen J. Camacho. Julia D. Curtin. Kevin DeCastro. Teresa Dessen. Caitlin Elbon. Fernando Guijan. Armani Haley. Christina Hernandez. Quentin Hunt. Robert Hilton. Billy Austin Johns. Kyle Ray Jones. Dylan Ray Kelso. Nicholas Lopez. Austin Carl Magura. Benjamin Nieves. Jean C. Fuentes. That's difficult for him. William Reynolds, Jr. Glenn Elias Rivera. Tanya Robertson. Dennis R. Rumi. Cole Garrison Sanchez. Frank Vicente.
Forward the presentation of their certificates.
Crossover class 33. Attention! Left, face! Howard, up!
Addie Brooks. Roddy Brooks. Coral Bryan. Alexandria Dallas. Emmanuel Dino. Inez Fonseca Torres. Tidell Hudgens. Eugene G. Lewis. Samuel Malone. Shantuan Marshall. Stephen Andre Ramos. Vincent Richardson. David Riggins. Erica C. LaShonda Stringer. I still got one more. Leona Thornton. In addition to successfully completing all course requirements to graduate from these programs, some students have, through extra effort, gone above and beyond. At this time, we would like to recognize these students. During the course of the 770-hour basic law enforcement curriculum, the students are required to successfully pass a total of 17 written examinations. The student who achieves the overall highest GPA for those exams receives the High Academic Award. The recipient of the High Academic Award, wait for it. They haven't been told yet. The recipient of the High Academic Award for BLE Class 135 with a score of 97.11% is Tanya Robertson. One of the most important skills in which a student must demonstrate proficiency is firearms. The student with the highest overall qualification score receives what is known as the Top Gun Award. The Top Gun recipient from Class 135 with an overall score of 97.9% is Jillian Fernando. Each class has its own leadership structure composed of class leaders and squad leaders. These individuals volunteer to serve in a capacity performing extra duties and are selected based upon their background, attitudes, and leadership traits. I would like to ask the leaders of Class 135 to please step forward. Please hold your applause until all have been recognized. Class photographer, Robert Hilton. Squad leaders, Glenn Rivera, Julia Curtin, and Dylan Kelso. Class guide, Jean Fuentes. Executive officer, Teresa Dessen. And class leader for 135, Cole Sanchez. And from the crossover class, we would like to recognize Erica C., who managed the attendance rosters for her academy class. At this time, we would like to ask that Class Leader Cole Santrios and Executive Officer Teresa Dessed to come up to the podium.
On behalf of Class BLE 135, we'd like to present this class plaque to Director Jim Lee and Manager Jim Charles.
Thank you very much. If any of you have had the chance to be in our classrooms, you'll see that the walls are adorned with plaques from all of those who have gone before, so they've now added theirs to the collection. We're very proud and we thank you very much. We'll think of you when we look at that on the wall. The purpose and the focus of our academies is to give our students the best education and training possible to prepare them for entering the workforce. And tonight we have several of our graduates who have already been selected for hiring and will be sworn in or receive their badges tonight. We'd now like to ask Sheriff Dennis Lima to please come forward for the swearing in of Kentavis Caffey, Roddy Brooks, David Riggins, Coral Bryan, and LaShonda Stringer.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I. State your name. Do solemnly swear. That I will support, protect, and defend. The Constitution and government. Of the United States. And the state of Florida. That I will enforce the laws of the state of Florida. And the ordinances of Seminole County. That I am duly qualified. Under the Constitution of the state. To hold office. That I will well and faithfully. Carry out the duties. Of Seminole County Deputy Sheriff. For which I'm about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations.
Congratulations. We'd now like to ask Orlando Police Chief Orlando Rolone to please come forward for the swearing in of Stephen Camacho. Tim, would you join us up here? As most of you may remember, Officer Robbie German, a graduate of the law enforcement program here at Seminole State College, was tragically killed in the line of duty on March 22, 2014, while performing his duties as a Windermere police officer. As a means of honoring Robbie's memory, his family has created an award to be given to the graduates of our law enforcement program to provide financial assistance to help the students begin their career in law enforcement. I'd now like to ask Mr. Tim German, Robbie's father, to please join us on stage to say a few words.
Start by saying congratulations. Well done. And we got new grads and we have new officers, so that's all good. That's a great job. This reminds me of 2007. That's when Robbie graduated from this academy. And it is really a great academy. He would have gone to Valencia, but he lived over here. In fact, I also want to say that having been here, he really was well prepared, well trained. He was excited when he left. He was eager to get into the uniform on the street, and he loved every minute of what he did. Once you get there, it's not quite the same as what you think it might be before you get there, and I think that you're all going to find that out. But you're going to be able to depend on fantastic leadership. These gentlemen down here, one of whom actually was Robbie's interim chief at Windermere, and it's actually a pleasure to see you tonight. Robbie didn't want you to leave, by the way. This award was actually inspired by what we, as a first-time police family, learned during Robbie's 5 years at Windermere Police Department, from him and from the work that he did. For example, we learned that law enforcement was far more than what the news media covers or chooses to cover. We learned how much the day-to-day duties involved had much more to do with service and safety initiatives than ticketing and arresting. We learned of situations which tested Robbie's patience, humility, sense of humor, courage, and compassion. And we started to understand, after some time, that truly effective law enforcement must require a range of personal qualities, and a number of these were referred to by Lee Massey earlier today. And this is a tough order, because the qualities required are very broad-ranging. They pull on a person in different ways. And it's not like most other professions that way. You have to be able to be flexible and shift gears from one of those qualities to another in a moment's notice. These are the qualities, of course, that our communities depend upon for our safety, security, and quality of life. And these are the kind of qualities that are recognized in the award that I'm going to be presenting tonight. The individual, I think, has been selected by the faculty. I wasn't involved with that, but we had help deciding on the front end from Director Lee and also from the foundation staff what kind of criteria we wanted to build into that. So the selections have been made, and now I just need to know who.
We always like it when you're the one that's able to make the announcement, and it is,
Okay, thank you. So I'll just read the certificate. It's called the Officer Robert German Memorial Award. The Certificate of Honor, well, I'm going to hold the name just for a minute. I'm going to read what it's about. In recognition of exemplary character reflecting the ideals of law enforcement shared by Officer Robbie German, duty, honor, sacrifice, and integrity, given by the foundation of Seminole State College of Florida to Teresa Dessen.
come here, Teresa. Come here. Congratulations. Come on up. Okay. We also have Teresa, on behalf of the foundation, a monetary award. This was designated by the family to give officers entering their career a chance to buy new equipment, pay off tuition, whatever you may need. It's from the foundation as sponsored by the family for you.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Come on up here. We would once again like to congratulate our students on their accomplishments. And we would also like to encourage those of you who have not yet completed your degree to continue your education here at Seminole State by taking advantage of the credits that you have already earned by going through the basic law enforcement or the crossover program. A number of your classmates have already begun the process, so we don't want you to be left behind. You can get up to 22 credits towards the 60-hour associate in science degree. So if any of you out there hold a current criminal justice standards and training certification, either law enforcement or corrections, come and see us, and we can show you how you can apply that towards higher learning credit. After the classes are dismissed, they will move into the lobby where they will take group photos, and then you'll be able to meet with them there, and the stage will also be available for photography after that if you choose. Again, thank you very much for coming and enjoying this with us tonight. And Deputy Chase, you may now dismiss the graduates. Good luck and good night.